Hello and welcome back. I'm Lex, and you're listening to the C9 podcast show.
And I'm Vera. It's great to be here.
We have a really massive deep dive for you today. It's something that touches on the absolute cutting edge of enterprise tech.
It really does.
And before we get into it, I want to give a huge welcome to all the followers of our podcast and business page. We see you. We really appreciate you tuning in.
Yes, a big hello to everyone in our business community. Today is going to be, I think, a bit of a reality check.
That's putting it mildly.
We're looking at a topic that's, it's simultaneously the most hyped and maybe the most misunderstood area in tech right now.
A reality check is exactly right. I was reading through this document you sent, Mastering Agentic AI, the Enterprise Guide to Successful Implementation.
Right.
And at first I thought, okay, here we go, another buzzword salad. But then I hit page 3, and it felt less like a tech manual and more like a warning sign on a cliff edge.
The data is pretty stark, isn't it?
Yeah. Let's just set the stage. We know Australian IT spending is projected to hit, something like $172.3 billion in 2026?
A staggering number.
And everyone is rushing towards agentic AI. But here's the statistic that just stops you cold. 95% of these projects, these huge, expensive implementations,
They fail.
they fail to move beyond the experimental pilot stage. They just die on the vine.
It's the valley of death.
Yeah.
For AI projects. Companies get all excited, they build a cool-looking demo, and then it just never scales.
And this is the reason we're doing this deep dive.
Right, the flip side.
That other 5%, the ones who get it right, they're not just getting a small win. They are seeing a 10 times return on investment.
Within 24 months.
10 times. Those
Yeah.
numbers are they're almost absurd. That's the difference between just surviving a market shift and completely dominating it.
It is. So our mission today is clear. We need to really dissect that gap. What are the 95% doing wrong, and what's the secret sauce for that tiny 5%?
And who is this for?
Well, if you're an Australian business owner, a C-level executive, or just anyone trying to figure out how to automate complex workflows without, setting your budget on fire.
You need to listen to this.
You really do.
Because if you don't crack this, your competitors will. And with a 10x advantage, you're not going to catch up. We're going to get into some really interesting and frankly terrifying terms today.
We are.
We're talking AI cowboys, the dangers of vibes coding,
Which sounds a lot more fun than it is.
and why skipping the discovery phase might be the single most expensive mistake a CEO can make.
That's going to be an eye-opener for a lot of people.
Okay, so let's start at square one. We hear AI thrown around all the time, but this guide is very specific about agentic AI. How is this different from, say, the customer service chatbot that gets me frustrated every time I try to return something?
Yeah, that's the perfect question. And no, it is not just a rebrand. It's a fundamental shift in capability. Yeah. Think of a traditional chatbot, like a very obedient but not very bright intern. You have to give it a script. If the customer says X, you say Y, and it follows that script perfectly.
But what if the customer says Z?
It breaks, it freezes, or you get that dreaded, I don't understand, let me connect you to a human agent.
Yeah.
It doesn't have a brain, it just has a rule book.
The computer says no moment.
Exactly. Agentic AI is different.
Yeah.
The C9 guide points to 4 core differentiators, but the first one is the big one, autonomous decision-making.
So it thinks for itself.
It understands the goal, not just the script. It makes decisions based on context. It handles exceptions. If the front door is locked, it knows to go check the back window. It doesn't just give up.
Agency, hence the name.
Precisely.
Yeah.
But for the enterprise audience listening, the second differentiator is, I think, the real game changer. It's called cross-system orchestration.
Okay, that sounds like corporate buzzword bingo. Break that down for us.
It's the plumbing, but it's intelligent plumbing. Think about a person processing an order in your business. They might have to open Salesforce, then check a spreadsheet,
Then log into some ancient ERP system.
and then send an email. Exactly. The Alt-Tab dance between 5 different windows.
I know it well.
Traditional automation hates that. It's brittle. An agentic AI, though, connects all of those things at once. Your CRM, your ERP, even those old mainframes everyone's afraid to touch.
So it's not just chatting. It's actually logging in, checking inventory, verifying finance records all at once.
That's where the real power is. It becomes the human glue that holds all these disparate systems together.
Which is the bottleneck in almost every business.
It is. And that leads to the third point, continuous learning. Your traditional software, it starts getting old the day you install it.
Right. It's static until you pay for an update.
And agentic AI gets better over time. The guide actually cites some IBM research showing a 23% efficiency gain in year 1, but by year 3,
It's higher.
it jumps to 67%.
So it's an asset that compounds. It actually gets better and better at its job.
Precisely. And the last piece is goal-oriented behavior. You don't tell it, click here, then click there. You give it a goal, like reduce patient wait times, and it figures out the most efficient path.
Okay, that all sounds great in theory, but I'm a skeptic. I need a real-world aha moment. Where is this actually working right now?
Let's start with financial services, fraud detection. We're now seeing agents that can analyze a single transaction across 15, maybe 20 different systems
Simultaneously.
in milliseconds. One major Australian bank reported a 47% improvement in fraud detection accuracy.
47%. That's not just efficiency, that's real money saved. Fraud is a massive cost for banks.
Huge. But my favorite example, the one in the guide that really stands out, is in healthcare at the Royal Children's Hospital in Melbourne.
Oh, I saw this one. This was about patient care coordination, right? It's just unbelievable. Imagine the stress. You have a sick child, and you're waiting for appointments, for results, for referrals. The admin side of that used to take an average of 4.2 weeks.
A month. Over a month, just for paperwork to clear.
A month of waiting. They brought in agents to handle that cross-system work we talked about. They took that time from 4.2 weeks down to 18 hours.
18 hours.
18 hours.
Wow, that's a 95% reduction. That's not just a business metric. That's changing lives. Kids getting into treatment weeks earlier.
It's profound. And one more quickly in supply chain. Toyota Australia. They had people manually clicking through, get this, 50 to 100 different mainframe screens just to track parts.
100 screens? I mean, that sounds like soul-crushing work.
And incredibly slow. They implemented a supply chain agent. It eliminated that work. The savings,
Let me guess, it was big.
$4.7 million annually, just by cutting out that navigation time. Okay, so the potential is massive, and it's real. Toyota, hospitals, banks. Which brings us back to the grim statistic. If it's this good, why are 95% of these projects failing? Why is everyone crashing and burning?
This is where we enter the valley of death, and it usually starts with who you hire. The guide uses a fantastic term for this.
AI cowboys.
AI cowboys, and it's not a compliment.
And they practice something called vibes coding.
They do.
Please, explain vibes coding. It sounds like a Spotify playlist, not a development strategy.
It's pretty much what it sounds like. It's development by intuition, not by engineering. The AI cowboy, they're often a freelancer, maybe a budget dev shop. They're enthusiastic.
And they'll show you a demo in 2 days that looks incredible.
Exactly. Because they're just hacking it together until the vibes feel right, until it looks good on the surface.
Yeah.
But underneath,
There's nothing there.
no architecture, no documentation. They're often hard-coding credentials, usernames, and passwords right into the code,
So they're basically taping the keys to the front door.
with a big neon sign pointing to them. It's a security nightmare. And then there's zero knowledge transfer. When that freelancer gets bored and leaves, you're left with a black box nobody understands.
And when it breaks, which it will, nobody can fix it.
The guide has a case study, an Australian financial services company. They spent $45,000 on a vibes-coded system.
Which sounds cheap for enterprise software. A CFO would probably sign off on that in a second.
It sounded cheap. Yeah. But when it broke, they ended up spending $680,000 trying to get other developers to salvage it.
Oh, wow. So 15 times the original cost just to fix the mess.
And in the end, they had to scrap the whole thing and start over. That's the real cost of vibes coding.
So that's the people trap. But there's an infrastructure trap too, right? Something about needing real-time data.
This is huge, and it's so often overlooked. An agent needs data that's current. You can't have it telling a customer a product is in stock if it's looking at yesterday's data.
Right.
There was a retailer mentioned they spent $380,000 on these amazing customer agents.
Yeah.
They worked perfectly.
Let me guess. The back end was ancient.
Their point of sale system only did a batch update once a night.
So the agent was confidently wrong all day.
Exactly. It would sell a TV at 2 p.m. that was actually sold out at 10 a.m. All that money wasted because they didn't check the plumbing first.
And that leads to the money trap, this indicative pricing illusion.
A ballpark estimate.
The number you get after a 30-minute phone call.
Right. And executives love it because they want a number for the spreadsheet. But the guide warns that those numbers, they usually explode by 3 to 5 times once reality hits.
So how do you avoid all this? How do you stay out of that 95%? The guide keeps pointing to one thing, but it's a word that makes executives' eyes glaze over.
Discovery.
Discovery. It sounds like paying for meetings.
It does, and executives often hate it. They feel like they're paying for a sales pitch.
Yeah.
I just want to see code.
Just start building. It feels like action.
But we have to reframe it. Discovery isn't a sales pitch. It's strategic architecture. It's the blueprint for the skyscraper before you pour the first bag of concrete.
And the numbers back that up.
Undeniably, discovery-based pricing is over 90% accurate. It's indicative ballpark stuff.
What's that, 50-50?
40 to 60% accurate at best. So you pay a little upfront for certainty to avoid that expensive pivot 6 months later when it all goes wrong.
The C9 guide outlines a specific 4-phase discovery process that takes 2 to 3 weeks. Can you walk us through what actually happens?
Sure. Phase 1 is business alignment. This isn't just asking what do you want. It's defining success metrics, granular process mapping. You have to understand the current process deeply.
Because if you automate a mess.
You just get a faster mess. Phase 2 is the architecture assessment. This is where they do a rigorous data quality audit. If your data is fragmented or old, the project dies right here. This is what that retailer should have done.
Check the fuel before you build the engine.
Phase 3 is decision point mapping. That's governance, mapping out exactly when a human needs to step in to approve something.
Crucial for compliance. In finance or health, you can't just let the AI run wild.
Absolutely. And Phase 4 is the detailed roadmap, the timeline and resources. No more guessing.
I saw a note here about stage 0 opportunities. What's that?
This is the secret weapon of a good discovery. These are the quick wins. While they're doing the audit, they often find small process fixes or data issues that can be solved easily.
And that saves money.
Often, it saves enough money to pay for the entire discovery process, sometimes even the whole project. So the discovery literally pays for itself.
That's a powerful argument for a CFO. Okay, so we've done discovery, we have a solid plan, now we build, and this is the classic Australian business dilemma, isn't it?
Cost versus quality.
You either hire expensive local consultants for $250 an hour, or you go cheap offshore and, well, you pray.
It's a painful trade-off. And that's where the C9 guide introduces their blended offshore-onshore model.
How does that actually work? Because blended can mean anything.
With this model, the leadership is Australian. The strategy, the architecture, the regulatory compliance, that's all handled locally by people who understand Australian privacy laws and the business context.
So the brain and the safety net are here in Australia.
Correct. But the execution, the coding and testing, that heavy lifting, is done by their offshore teams. And the key is, these are not random contractors. They are third-time employees of C9.
So it's one team, one culture.
Exactly. And that enables a follow-the-sun model. The Aussie team defines the work during the day. The offshore team builds it while we sleep. You get about 40% faster project velocity.
Working while you sleep. And the economics of that must be pretty compelling.
It completely changes the math. You're looking at a 40 to 60% cost saving compared to an all-Australian team.
Let's put a number on that.
The guide gives an example of a 3-month project. Done locally, it might cost $270,000.
Okay.
With the C9 blended model, that drops to $155,000.
That's a saving of $115,000. That's an entire extra team member you could hire. Or a marketing budget.
It just frees up so much capital. And one other thing about their pricing stood out. Skill-based pricing.
Right. Explain that.
Most firms charge a blended rate, say $180 an hour. You pay that for the senior architect, which is a great deal. But you also pay $180 an hour for the junior tester.
So you're overpaying for the simple stuff.
Massively. C9 charges by the skill. So the senior architect might be $165 to $195 an hour, but the QA testing role is $85 to $115.
That's just honest. That transparency is so rare.
It aligns the cost directly with the value you're getting.
Okay, let's bring this all home. We have the tech, Agentic AI, which is a game changer. We know the trap, the AI cowboys and their vibes, and we have a model that solves the cost and quality problem. But there's a clock ticking here, isn't there?
There is. The guide is very clear on this. By 2027, businesses that don't have this will be at a severe competitive disadvantage. The window to be a first mover is closing. Fast.
A sobering thought. So for the Australian business owners and C-level execs listening right now thinking, I need to do this, but I can't afford a failed pilot, what's the next step?
You need a roadmap before you start driving. You need that discovery.
Exactly. The call to action is to check out C9. They're Australia's leading custom software, apps, integration, and database developer company. Schedule a discovery consultation.
Stop guessing. Get a real plan.
You can find them at www.c9.com.au. That's c9.com.au.
It's the smartest first step you can take.
As we wrap this up, What is the final provocative thought you want to leave everyone with?
I just ask everyone listening to look at their current tech spend and ask one hard question.
Okay.
Are you building an asset that compounds in value, like a C9 agent, or are you just building technical debt with a vibes coder? Because one moves you forward and the other will eventually sink you.
That is the million-dollar question. Vibes don't pay the bills.
They certainly do not.
All right, thank you so much for breaking all of this down, and a huge thank you to everyone listening. If this was useful, please do us a huge favor and click that follow button.
And share it.
Yes, share this deep dive with a colleague who needs to hear it. Don't let them go hire an AI cowboy.
Save them the $680,000 headache.
Exactly. Save the budget. We will see you on the next deep dive.
Goodbye, everyone.